This Texas-Michigan game, Mason, is one that it's really, really hard for me to put my finger on an outcome for this game, like a precise
Right.
outcome that I can bet on. That and guys, if you watch this show at all, you know that I like to bet on the college football games. We have a betting show every Thursday, Thursday evening that we do. A lot of fun. We did really well on there last week. I think we went like 11-3 total. So this one though, we got two totally different styles here, Mason. We've got a much more of a modern approach to football, so it seems, with Texas. More of the spread you out, the best. If you could somehow play six wide receivers, Texas would be the best wide receiver, six wide receiver group that you could put on the field. I mean, they are unbelievable. They're unbelievable in the starting guys. There's a second team of guys that I don't feel like there's that big of a drop off, and then there's even a third team of wide receivers you could bring in that I feel like a couple of those guys would start on teams around the country. So, and then you've got Michigan on the other hand, that all their strength lies in their defense, every bit of it, and there's just tons of questions on the offense. And so, what I want to do is just kind of let's go team by team, and let's start with Michigan. And let's just talk about some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses for this football team and some paths to victory for Michigan. And then we'll do the same thing for Texas. And then let's give our predictions. And starting with Michigan, it all starts up front with that offensive line. It's the nucleus for every really good football team. And this team lost a lot. They lost an absolute ton. You bring back one guy who's got starting experience there, and the rest of them are all new dudes. Now, you like the prospect of some of these young guys, and Michigan has been able to kind of reload on the offensive line over the last few years, and they've got a lineage of putting really good offensive linemen out, but that's not going to help them this year. You've got to get these guys going. Josh Preby was a guy that they picked up in the transfer portal. This offensive line is going to play a huge role in this football game and the point outcome in this football game. So certainly something that I've really got to keep my focus on. Can they get a push? Can they get a push? That's going to be the biggest thing. And is that able to jumpstart Donovan Edwards, somebody who we didn't see get a ton of action last year and was kind of an afterthought, the year before in some cases with 497 yards. I mean, that's not a shabby season. That was on, about 115 carries or so. But you got to figure out a way to get him going because the run game is going to be the strength for this offense that I feel like is the overall weakness for this team, if that makes any sense. Texas's defensive line, we'll kind of talk about it a little bit together here just because that's, the O-line's going to be going against Texas's D-line here. They lose Sweat and they lose Murphy from last year. Those are generational talents on the defensive line. It cannot be said enough what they did for this defense last year, Mason, because Texas averaged giving up like 75 yards a game on the ground. When you can do that and those big guys can affect the football game like that, it changes your whole outlook on the defense. We don't have to worry about the run. These guys are clogging it up. They're catching literally just about everything coming in between the gaps there. You had to worry. Your outside guys had to worry about outside contain, and your secondary was really able to kind of sit back and worry, keep the main thing the main thing. And it still wasn't a great secondary. So my point is that defensive line, I think it kind of masked some issues for Texas's defense last year, I feel like. And we'll talk about Texas's defense more here in a minute. But can Michigan hit a deep play, Mason? That's there's got to be some kind of change up to this offense. There's got to be. Right now, all they've got is a very basic, mid-80s fastball, it seems like, on offense right now. And it's very hittable, right? It seems like. So what are they going to be able to do as far as hitting a big play? Colston Loveland is a big play waiting to happen. That's a guy that I think if Michigan is going to figure out a way to win this football game, Colston Loveland is going to have to hit a big play. And he's going to have to probably hit a few of them. I'm thinking he needs 8 to 10 catches. Going to have to get this guy good and lathered up. Work the middle of the field. He is, if not the best, he's one of the best tight ends in the country. Something that Texas and those Texas linebackers, he's a mismatch for a linebacker. So gonna be interesting to see.
Unless your linebacker's Anthony Hill, that's probably the only like linebacker you can put on Colston Loveland and feel really comfortable with his athleticism. That's my concern with Colston Loveland in this game is if he gets matched up with Anthony Hill, I don't know if Hill might not just take him out of this game for the most part.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see. And if he's worried about Colston Loveland, what's going on with the run game. Look, the offense for Michigan is not a great offense, guys. It's not great. Can it be efficient? Can it be opportunistic? Can it be mistake free? These are the things that Michigan's going to have to do. And as I said, you got to hit a big play. Tyler Morris, Samaj Morgan, Frederick Moore, Amarion Miller, who was a defensive back last year for Ole Miss, by the way. Marion Stewart, a 4-star freshman signee. Somebody's got to make a play. But with all that being said, we didn't even talk about the quarterback. Alex Orji, right? Does he have a changeup? It seems like he has one pitch, right? And it seems like it's when he comes in the football game, he's running the football. That's not going to work. That's too predictable. Now, he did throw a couple of passes. He completed a couple of passes in this last game. And, you got to start to put some of that stuff on film because we've seen this time and time again in college football. You can't just bring a quarterback in just to run the football. Everybody knows the jig is up at that point. And Texas is going to be all over that. So we've got to figure out a way, if you're Michigan, to use Davis Warren. Mason, did you know Davis Warren is like a 0-star, like a non-rated quarterback, I guess, coming out of high school, at least on 24/7. Orji, 3-star guy out of the state of Texas. Go figure, right? The Texas boy hosting the Texas Longhorns at home. That's kind of a underlying story there. But those are some of the keys that I think Michigan has got to use to unlock the offense and unlock to be able to have a shot in this game. Their defense is really good, guys. I don't think Texas is going out there scoring 60 points on this defense. But with that being said, if this offense for Michigan is going out there 3 and out, they're not being efficient, they're not, using the clock, Texas will run it up on them. You give them a bunch of possessions, they're going to be able to run it up. So something that we certainly need to keep on. Mason, what do you think about the offense? Hey, and Quentin, I see you in the back room. Give us just a minute, and we'll get you on here as we get this wrapped up. I'd love to hear what you got to say. Go ahead, Mason.
Yeah, I'm totally with you here. So when I look at this game, I've got Michigan covering right at +7. The way that they're not going to cover or win this game is if the offense leaves the defense out to dry. I think in a normal sort of game where the offense is able to put together some drives, extend some plays, I don't see Texas putting up 40 on Michigan, right? I don't see that. I think that the defensive backs are too good. I think really the whole team is too good, but particularly that defensive line up front is going to make things very difficult for Texas. When you look at Texas's run game, I like the offensive line, which is usually a good indication of a strong run game, but the Texas's running back room is very depleted. I love Jaden Blue. I think he's very explosive, very dynamic. I really like Jarrett Gibson as a true freshman, highly touted guy coming in. I thought he played with a little bit of wiggle and whatnot, but when you have a true freshman in there, you got to worry about those freshman mistakes, drop balls, fumbles, things like that, and that could get sideways if you turn the ball over as a true freshman. But to me, if Michigan's going to win this game, they got to play field possession, right? They've really got to extend the drives a little bit, pin Texas back, make them drive 85, 90 yards down the field, And then it seems like Michigan might have a little bit of a chance to score 1 or 2 touchdowns, score some field goals, and keep this a close football game, and hope that you can get another takeaway or a turnover on defense, give your offense another possession. And to me, that's probably about the only way that Michigan wins this football game. But I have questions about the explosiveness on offense. I really do. Even though I think that on the defensive side of the football for Texas, the weakest aspect of their defensive unit is the secondary. I don't know if Michigan, Davis Warren, Alex Orji, I don't know if they're going to be able to exploit it. However, I do like their run game. I really liked what I saw out of Mullings, the running back. I don't even know if Michigan fans knew that they had Mullings sitting there, and was gonna play this well. I mean, we did mention it in our preview of Michigan that there were some whispers about Mullings and what he was going to be able to do, but this is his 5th year. Like you would think you would have seen it by now. But I really liked what I saw out of him. He was the better running back of between him and Donovan Edwards in this past game. Does he get fed a little bit more as a hot hand in this game? And to me, the running game has to establish that run early on, attack the middle of the defense, which last game, I mean, the interior defensive line played pretty dang well. I don't know that losing, the 2 guys in the middle from last year really hurt them all that much, but they haven't been tested yet. So we'll see it in this game. This to me is the biggest game for Texas. It's going to answer a lot of questions. How are they against the run, right? You're going to be tested really early against the run, and they're going to be tested. Their wide receivers are going to be tested with this defensive backfield. I think it's probably the second best DB room in the Big Ten, second to Ohio State, which is just ridiculous. But to me, if Texas wins this game, I think they go to the playoffs. I think it's really that simple. If they're not able to win this game, I think that they're going to put something on film that a lot of other SEC teams are going to be able to exploit. But to me, this is one of those catalyst games for the college football playoff landscape in general, because these are 2 blue blood programs. And I really do think that the playoffs are kind of riding on this game for either team, either way you look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's kind of talk about this Michigan defense, and with that in hand, we'll kind of talk about the Texas offense. How about that? Because these guys are going to be squaring off, and here's where the real good on good is, right? A really good defense against what is a really good offense for Texas. I think, we name all these prerequisites that Michigan needs to win this football game. Everything's got to go right. You've got to figure things out on the fly. Lots of questions have to be answered throughout the week here. I don't think it's near as complicated for Texas. I don't. Can you stop the run, and can you run the football? And it's not just questions for Texas. It's questions for Michigan's defense as well. Can Michigan stop the run? This is a really good interior defensive line. Mason Graham is an absolute beast, man. And he is an NFL talent. Texas fans, you know exactly what this is like whenever you have one of these, first, second round defensive line talents right there in the middle. It changes things. It certainly changes things. And this Texas offensive line, where I like the left side of it. I really, really do. You still kind of got a few questions on the right side, and this was a team that was 80th in the country last year and giving up sacks. So 28 sacks, I believe, given up. That's 2 per game. So if you're giving up 2 per game on average, what's Michigan going to get? I think they'll get 3 then, because Michigan is better than average at providing, defensive line talent and providing production. As far as with those edge rushers, you've got Josiah there on the edge. I feel like Michigan is going to be able to cause some havoc in the backfield. That's why I think this line is so low. This line is like 43 something, right? I mean, it's really, really low. and it's that way for a reason. Vegas is the one that's got the money on it, right? They're the ones that stand to make or lose from this, and they've got this thing in the 40s, man, the mid 40s, and it's going down. So I think there's a reason for that, and it's got to be the fact that they feel like Michigan is going to be able to get into the backfield a little bit. I would fully expect it, at least some, and we'll see how Texas handles it. You're right. The running back room is a little bit depleted. I like Jaden Blue. Wisner looked pretty decent, but we'll see. I mean, this is a whole nother ball game. We haven't seen this group this year, and they're going to get tested. They're going to get tested. It's going to be a great atmosphere as well. Look, this Michigan defense stopped Washington last year, right? A lot of these guys played in that game, right? They stopped Ohio State with all their wide receivers. I know Ohio State wasn't exactly a Ferrari of an offense last year, but still, take it for what it's worth. We'll see. If Texas can run the football, it's all over, Mason. It's all over.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you've got a change up and you've got your curveball working and you've got your fastball working, Texas is an unhittable pitcher as far as a college football team goes. If they've got everything going and they're using it, they're not going to be able to run directly at this Michigan defense, Mason. There's no way. I mean, that can't be the game plan. And I'm sure Steve Sarkisian has got it all schemed up. You got to spread them out. Gonna have to spread them out. Get them down towards that line of scrimmage, and then let those wide receivers go to work. It is a good secondary for Michigan. We'll see. We'll see if Texas is able to mix it up real good. I don't think they're going to be trying to throw over towards Will Johnson a whole lot. A guy that is an All-America, candidate. Definitely all Big Ten player for sure. So we'll see. We'll see. This is clash of styles. You got anything else on this one?
No, I think we're pretty good. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty good with where we're at. On this one, it's it could get away. It could get ugly in a hurry. And I think if there's going to be a blowout, it's going to be Texas blowing Michigan out.
For sure.
If Texas gets ahead in the first half by 10 points, I don't think Michigan can come back. They just don't have the offensive firepower to come back in that game, not without a turnover or a special team score or something like that. I just don't see it. But I can't wait. This is gonna be an absolute slobber knocker of a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's my prediction here. I feel like Texas is definitely going to win this football game. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I definitely think Texas wins this football game. I kind of look at the spread here. Texas is favored 7 and a hook. This is not my favorite number, guys. I don't think I'm going to be rushing out to bet this number necessarily, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see what this number does, and we'll see how high it, if it keeps creeping up. We'll see. It seems like the over-under is creeping down a little bit. I think it's down a point from our initial thought segment that we did earlier this week. I think Texas has just got too many tools in the tool chest. I think that it's just overwhelming fireworks that are on this Texas offense. I think the offensive line is going to be good enough to hold up in this game and keep Quinn Ewers relatively clean. I do think they give up, a couple of sacks, but the biggest thing I think for Quinn Ewers is getting a good rhythm early and using the pass game as an extension of the run game. You're going to have to be patient in this game right here. When you're playing a defense like Michigan, I think it just takes some patience, and it's going to take some creativity to be able to run the football. But I think Texas is going to figure out a way to run the football creatively, and I think they're going to be able to figure out a way to win this game. Give me Texas. If I had to lean, guys, I'm picking Texas in the points. As far as the over-under goes, I'm probably going over on that. I think that's too low. I can't go under 43.5. So, excuse me. The over-under actually might be something that I do bet just out of principle, just because of the fact that thing is so low. I think Michigan is going to figure out a way to do a couple things creatively on offense to score a couple of touchdowns in this thing, but wouldn't be surprised to see Texas come away with this one 28-14 and go ahead and cover that spread. And that, you know, that would put them right there at that over under. We'll see. Maybe 31-14, something like that. What's your prediction on this one, Mason?
I'm with you. I think that Texas will come away with the win. In the preseason, I did pick Michigan to win this football game. Just didn't see enough out of that offense to really feel confident about that pick. I would love to just ride my picks out from the preseason, but when we watch games being played, they tell us things. And right now, my gut's leaning a Texas victory here. I do think Michigan keeps it close. I think that they cover. This is a home game for Michigan. I know that Texas went into Tuscaloosa last year and won by 10 points. Quinn Ewers had a great game. I do feel like Michigan's a little bit of a different environment than Tuscaloosa. A little bit tougher, more of a crowd, more passionate fan base, in my opinion. And I think that there will be some early game jitters on both sides, and kind of a slow scoring game to start. And as I think Michigan's offense kind of leaves their defense out to dry, I think it kind of wears on that defense throughout the game. But to me, if Texas just doesn't lose the game, if they don't turn the ball over and have a ton of penalties, I think that they win this game by, I'd say 3 to 6 points, something like that.
Yep. I think like I said, Texas, you run the football, you win the game. Right side of the offensive line, DJ Campbell, Cole Hudson, what do? That's my biggest question on this one, but I think this is a game that Texas can win and win pretty handily here. And if it did get out of hand, Mason, I think you had a good point earlier. I think it would be Texas would be the one running away with this thing.